You are here, but you are not present. You are breathing, but you are not alive. You're watching a story unfold on a screen inside your mind, and you've forgotten that you are not the audience. You are the one living it. There's a strange feeling that follows you. It doesn't have a name, but you know it well. It's the feeling of being distant, removed, like you're walking through your own life from behind glass. You eat breakfast, but you don't taste it. You speak to people, but you don't hear yourself. You move through the hours like a passenger on a train you didn't board, watching the landscape rush by, wondering when you'll finally arrive. But here's the truth. You've been arriving all along. Every moment this one, and the one before it, and the one that's already slipping away was the destination. You just weren't there to meet it. Somewhere along the way, you learned to live inside your head. You learned to think about your life more than you lived it. To narrate it, evaluate it, compare it. To turn every experience into a story you could tell yourself later, or judge, or file away into memory before it even finished happening. You became the director, the critic, the commentator, everything except the person actually being. And now you watch. You watch yourself work. You watch yourself love. You watch yourself try, fail, hope, fear. You watch as though you're waiting for something better to begin, as though this right now is just the preview, and the real movie starts later. But later never comes, because later is the same as now another moment you'll watch from a distance. Another scene you'll miss because you were too busy thinking about the last one or rehearsing the next. This is the quietest tragedy of the human condition. Not that we suffer, but that we miss our own lives while they happen. We are ghosts in the theater of our own existence, seated in the back row, watching a film we're supposed to be starring in. And the film is beautiful. Even in its pain, even in its uncertainty, it is yours. It is unrepeatable. The light that falls on your face in this exact second will never fall this way again. The breath you just took was the only one of its kind. The thought that crossed your mind a moment ago, gone, irretrievable. You are living in a universe of disappearing miracles, and you are too distracted to notice. Here's what happened. You confused thinking about life with living life. You started believing that understanding your emotions was the same as feeling them. That planning your future was the same as building it. That analyzing your relationships was the same as being present inside them. You turned inward not to find yourself, but to manage yourself, to control the narrative, to make sense of things, to stay safe. And in that inward turn, you lost contact with the world. You began to experience everything secondhand, filtered through thought, labeled, interpreted, reduced to language. The sunset became a nice sunset. The conversation became a good talk. The moment became a memory before it ever had the chance to be alive. Do you see it? You are not living. You are remembering as you go. You are writing the story of your life in real time and calling that living. But life is not a story. It's a pulse. It doesn't have a plot. It doesn't have meaning you can hold in your hand. It doesn't wait for you to understand it. It simply is flowing, changing, dissolving, appearing again. And you are not the narrator. You are the happening. There's a reason this feels so heavy. Because deep down, beneath the noise of your thoughts, you know this. You know you're missing it. You feel the ache of it in quiet moments, when you're lying in bed at night and the day feels like it passed in a blur, when you're with someone you love, but your mind is somewhere else, when you finish a task and realize you have no memory of doing it. That ache is not depression. It's not anxiety. It's longing. It's your soul whispering, "Come back. You're not here. Come back." And here's the strange miracle. You can, not later. Not when life gets easier or clearer or less complicated. Now, in this moment, this exact, irreplaceable, already vanishing moment, you can return. Not by thinking differently, not by fixing yourself or achieving something or finally understanding the meaning of it all, but by stopping, by letting the watcher dissolve, by stepping out of the theater and onto the stage. Because here's the secret they don't tell you. You are not separate from your life. You are your life. The one watching and the one being watched, they were never two. You've been the ocean pretending to be a wave, the sky pretending to be a cloud, the light pretending to be a shadow. And all this time, you've been searching for yourself in the distance, when you were here all along, right here, in the breath, in the heartbeat, in the soft hum of existence that never stops singing, even when you've forgotten how to listen. You are not the ghost. You are the living, and it's time to come home. There is a part of you that never stops watching. It watches you eat, watches you speak, watches you love, cry, stumble, rise. It is always there hovering just behind your eyes, judging, measuring, narrating. You've come to think of it as you. But it is not. It is the observer, and it has taken over your life. This observer is not evil. It's not even bad. It was born out of survival, the part of you that needed to track danger, evaluate situations, predict outcomes. It kept you safe when safety mattered. But somewhere along the way, it stopped being a tool and became your identity. You stopped experiencing life directly and started experiencing life through its commentary. Every moment became a thought about the moment. Every feeling became a judgment about the feeling. And slowly, quietly, you disappeared into the background of your own existence. The observer is relentless. It doesn't rest. It turns everything into a story, a problem, a project. You're having a conversation, and it's already critiquing what you said. You're feeling joy, and it's asking, will this last? You're lying in bed, and it's running through tomorrow's tasks, yesterday's mistakes, next year's fears. It never lets you be, because being is not its job. Its job is to think about being, and that is not the same thing. Here's the trap. The more you live inside the observer, the more you believe thinking is living. You think self-awareness is presence. You think analyzing your emotions is the same as feeling them. You think understanding your life is the same as inhabiting it. But awareness without presence is just another layer of distance. You become aware that you're not present, and then you watch yourself not being present. And you call that growth. But it's still watching, still separation, still the theater. The Sufis have a teaching, before you die, not physically, but psychologically. Let the observer die. Let the one who watches, judges, narrates, let it fall away, not by force, not by discipline, but by seeing it clearly, by recognizing that it is not you. You are not your thoughts. You've heard this before, but have you felt it? Have you ever stood in the middle of a storm of thinking and realized, I am not this? Have you ever noticed, that there's something deeper, something quieter, that exists before the thought, beneath the thought, beyond the thought. That's you, the real you, not the voice, the silence it speaks into. When the observer dissolves, even for a moment, something miraculous happens. You arrive. Suddenly the world is no longer a concept. It is vivid. The air on your skin is not air. It's a sensation without a name. The sound of rain is not rain. It's a rhythm, a texture, a presence. The person in front of you is not a person. They are energy, alive, unrepeatable here. This is not transcendence. This is immanence. This is life as it actually is before you think about it, before you label it, before you turn it into a memory or a meaning. This is the raw, unfiltered, utterly ordinary miracle of being. And here's what you realize. You don't need to find presence. You need to stop leaving it. The observer convinces you that presence is a state you must achieve, that you need to meditate for years, or read the right books, or finally heal all your wounds before you can be here. But that's another story, another future, another way of watching. Presence is not a destination. It's the ground you're already standing on. It's the breath you're already breathing. It's the moment you're already inside, the one you keep missing because you're busy searching for it. So what do? You stop searching. You stop trying to become present, and you notice that you already are. Try this. Right now, wherever you are, feel your body, not as an idea, not as a concept. Actually feel it. The weight of your body in the chair, the movement of your breath, the temperature of the air, the hum of aliveness beneath your skin. Don't think about it. Feel it. Notice what happens. For just a second, the observer goes quiet. For just a second, you are not watching yourself feel, you are the feeling. You are not aware of the moment, you are the moment. And in that second, you are free. This is the shift from object to subject, from watching to being, from the audience to the stage. The observer will return. It always does. But now you know the difference. Now you know what it feels like to be inside your life instead of hovering above it. And once you know that feeling, you can return to it again and again, not as a practice, not as a technique, but as a remembering, a coming home. You are not the one watching. You are the one alive. And that is not a metaphor. That is the truth you've been avoiding because it's too simple, too immediate, too here. The observer wants complexity. It wants problems to solve, meanings to find, futures to chase. But life wants nothing. It simply wants you. Here. Now. Undefended. Alive. You've been waiting. For most of your life, you've been waiting. Waiting for things to get better. Waiting for clarity. Waiting for the moment when everything finally makes sense and you can start living. But that moment never comes because waiting is not preparation. It's avoidance. It's a way of staying safe inside the story, inside the observer, inside the illusion that life is something that happens later. But there is no later. There's only now, and now, and now. This is the hardest truth to accept. This is it. Not in a tragic way, not in a hopeless way, but in the most liberating way possible. This whatever you're experiencing right now is your life. Not a rehearsal for your life. Not a chapter before the real story begins. This is it. And it's already enough. You've been taught to live for milestones. Graduation, career, marriage, children, retirement. As if life is a ladder, and you're climbing towards some final rung where you'll finally be allowed to rest and say, I made it. But you never make it, because the ladder is infinite. There's always another goal, another achievement, another thing you think will finally make you feel complete. And in the meantime, you miss everything. You miss the quiet morning, the conversation that could have gone deeper, the feeling in your chest that was trying to tell you something. You miss now because you're busy building later. Here's the paradox. The future you're chasing doesn't exist, not because it won't happen, but because when it arrives, it will still be now. It will still be this moment. And if you haven't learned to be present now, you won't be present then either. You'll just find something new to wait for. The Zen masters say, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. In other words, life doesn't transform when you arrive. You transform when you stop waiting to arrive. Let's be honest. You know this already. You've had moments, brief, fleeting moments when you stopped waiting, when you were fully here. Maybe it was on a walk, when the light hit the trees in a certain way. Maybe it was in a conversation when you forgot yourself and just listened. Maybe it was in grief, when the pain was so present you couldn't think your way out of it. In those moments, something shifted. The observer fell away. The future didn't matter. And for just a second, you were alive. That's what you're longing for. Not a better life, a real one. One where you're actually inside your experience instead of thinking about it. One where the moment is enough, not because it's perfect, but because it's here. So why do you keep leaving? Why do you keep drifting back into the watcher, into the waiting, into the story? Because presence is vulnerable. When you stop watching, you have to feel. You have to feel the ache, the uncertainty, the tenderness of being human. You have to let go of control, of meaning, of the illusion that you can think your way into safety. And that's terrifying, so you retreat, back into the mind, back into the story, back into later. But here's the thing, later never saves you. The future you're waiting for, the one where you're finally healed, finally successful, finally at peace, it's not coming. Not because you won't get there, but because peace is not a place. It's a way of being here. You don't need to fix yourself before you can be present. You don't need to understand everything before you can live. You just need to stop waiting, to stop deferring your life to some imagined moment when everything will be easier, and to recognize this is the moment, this breath, this heartbeat, this quiet, ordinary, unrepeatable now. What if you stopped asking, when will I be ready? And started asking, what if I'm already here? What if you stopped searching for the life you're supposed to live and started living the life you have? Not with resignation, not with defeat, but with presence, with the radical acknowledgement that this right now, in all its imperfection, is sacred. There's a Sufi story. A student asks the master, when will I find God? The master replies, you already have. You're just waiting for permission to notice. You don't need permission. You never did. You are already here. You are already alive. The only question is, will you meet yourself? Will you stop watching and start being? Because this moment is all you'll ever have, and it's enough. Not because it's comfortable, not because it's certain, but because it's real. So how do you come back? How do you step out of the theater and onto the stage? Not through effort, not through discipline, but through noticing. Pause. Just for a moment, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, pause and ask yourself, am I here? Not intellectually, not as a concept. Literally, am I present in this moment, or am I somewhere else? If you're somewhere else, don't judge it. Don't make it a problem. Just notice. Notice that you were lost in thought. Notice that you were watching instead of being, and then gently, without force, come back. Feel your breath, not as a task, just feel it. In, out, the rise and fall. The simplest, most ordinary miracle. Feel your body, the weight of it, the aliveness of it, the fact that you are here, in flesh, in form, in this exact moment of time. Notice one thing, one sound, one sensation, one flicker of light. Not to analyze it, not to appreciate it, just to be with it. This is the return, not a grand awakening, not enlightenment. Just this small, quiet act of coming back to the moment you're in. And here's what's beautiful. You can do this anytime, in the middle of a conversation, in the middle of a task, in the middle of fear or boredom or joy. You can pause and return again and again and again. This is not a technique to master. It's a remembering, a gentle redirect from the story back to the living. Because the truth is, you don't need to become someone else to be present. You don't need to transcend your humanity. You just need to stop abandoning it. Presence is not about perfection. It's about honesty. It's about being here, even when here is uncomfortable, confusing, or painful. Even when here is ordinary, uneventful, or boring. Especially then. Because those are the moments you've been missing. The quiet ones. The in-between ones. The ones that don't make it into the highlight reel, but make up the texture of your life. You've been so busy waiting for the extraordinary that you've missed the sacred hiding in the ordinary. The way light moves across a wall. The sound of someone's voice. The feeling of water on your hands. These are not small things. They are everything. They are the substance of life itself. And you've been walking past them, eyes on the horizon, waiting for something better. But there is nothing better. There is only this, and this is enough. Here's the shift. Stop trying to make your life mean something. Stop trying to become someone. Just be. Be here. Be flawed. Be uncertain. Be alive. Life doesn't need your commentary. It doesn't need your analysis, your judgment, your constant evaluation. It just needs you unfiltered, undefended, unhidden. And when you show up like that, when you stop watching and start living, something shifts. Not in the world, in you. You stop feeling like a stranger in your own life. You stop feeling like you're waiting for permission to begin. You realize you've been here all along. You just forgot. There's a line from the poet Rumi. Don't be satisfied with stories, how things have gone with others. Unfold your own myth. But I think he got it backwards. You don't need to unfold anything. You need to stop folding. Stop turning your life into a story. Stop waiting. And just be. Because you are not a story. You are a presence, a fleeting, temporary, unrepeatable presence in a universe that will never see your exact combination of breath and heartbeat and thought again. And that presence is now, not later, not when you figure it all out. Now, so come back from the future, come back from the past, come back from the screen inside your mind, come back to the breath, to the body, to the moment. Come back to the life you're already living, the one you've been watching from a distance, the one that's been waiting for you all along. You are not the audience. You are the happening. And it's time to wake up to that. Not someday, not when you're ready. Now, take a breath, feel it, that's life. Not the idea of it. You are here. You are alive. Stop watching. Start living.